This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
And good morning. We were just talking about all those high school football games going on tomorrow. Crazy fact about Tawana, she has never been to one.
Nope. And you sound like you have no desire to go to one either. Nope. No? Okay.
Not really. Like, what did you do in high school on Friday nights?
I was at home reading books or watching movies with my brother. That was really it.
I went to an all-girls high school, and I still went to the high school football games.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we lived for Friday night football games.
But also keep in mind, my mother was a little bit more strict. She wasn't letting me go anywhere most of the time.
But you enjoyed reading the books and saying it.
Yes.
So,
No, this was my.
So you don't feel like you're missing out. So that's
No,
good.
no, I was all good. I was all good. And the weather for those football games tomorrow are still looking good. But hey, if you want to, anybody wants to take me to an NFL game, I'll go with you for that. Those of you heading out this morning, we are seeing more breaks in the clouds, so that's making for some pretty cool sunrises showing up, including this one on our SkyTrack camera in Bardstown. So pretty nice start to the day. For those of you heading out and about, we are keeping some clouds overhead throughout the rest of the morning and into the afternoon. We're watching still some of these spotty showers, a little bit heavier right now in portions of Perry County through Crawford County and into northern Harrison County. This rain hasn't budged a whole lot over the past half an hour, so that is a little bit concerning. We'll watch to see how much you can move off towards the east and south and hopefully help to mitigate any localized flooding issues there. From Borden towards Charlestown, you are seeing a couple of spotty showers for you. Same thing in the Madison area and a few more of those spotty showers in the southern portions of Hardin County and back into Grayson County, with some drizzle still showing up in the very southern fringes of Greene and Taylor counties. Your temperatures in the 60s, going to end up in the 70s later on today, with those clouds continuing to break apart. As that happens, we'll climb into those 70s and we'll watch for additional rounds of the scattered showers and thunderstorms in our forecast for some, but not all of us. And we finally fully dry out once we get into tonight, Rob. So some drier weather is eventually coming our way.
Okay. We are looking forward to that, Tawana. Thanks so much. And with that drier weather comes some good news on the roadways. No major accidents or tie-ups to talk about this morning. We are keeping an eye here. This is I-65 near the outer loop. Things moving a lot better right now than it was yesterday morning when we were getting all that rain. Just about this time, of course, there are some slowdowns with some of the construction projects. Otherwise, things looking pretty good for you. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the morning. Back over to you.
Thank you. Today, the Metro Council will vote on a resolution that would urge Governor Beshear to speed up the reopening of the Juvenile Justice Center.
The center closed in 2019 due to a council vote and funding cuts. Supporters of the resolution believe not having a place to send kids who commit violent crimes locally is a public safety issue. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke joining us live this morning with details. Marissa.
Good morning, Shannon and Olivia. State lawmakers put aside millions in 2023 solely for the construction for the Juvenile Justice Center here in Louisville, and it's supposed to open next year, but Metro Council members want it to be sooner than that. The center closed in 2019 after a council vote and funding cuts. Officials say $30 million is set aside in the Kentucky General Assembly. Last Wednesday, Metro Council members described the lack of the Juvenile Justice Center as a public safety issue. What happens now is kids who commit violent crimes are either incarcerated in another county or released for crimes that they would normally be incarcerated for. In the second quarter of this year, reports say 200 youth were transported 39,000 miles in just 3 months.
I definitely had concerns when it was first closed down, and so I understand that council made that decision. So I just want to reiterate that this is about the purpose of public safety, as we agree, rehabilitation and treatment, as Councilman Herndon referred to, deterrence of future crime.
The governor's office says that there were other factors delaying the reopening of the Juvenile Justice Center. According to them, it took 2 years for Louisville Metro to transfer the deed of the facility to the Commonwealth so that they could begin the design and construction phases of this project. Council members do acknowledge that there are multiple layers to fixing the issue when we talk about improving the crime rate, like substance and trauma-informed care, educational opportunities, and vocational training. The reopening of the Juvenile Detention Center in Louisville does have bipartisan support. And again, council members are set to vote on the resolution urging Governor Beshear to take action sometime today. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Marissa, thank you. Today, a mother charged with killing her 5-year-old son and stuffing his body in a suitcase is expected to be back in court. Dejon Anderson is charged with murder, neglect of a dependent, and obstruction of justice. Prosecutors say she killed her 5-year-old son, Cairo Jordan. His body was discovered inside a suitcase in a wooded area of Washington County, Indiana, more than 3 years ago. Anderson made claims a demon or devil possessed her son and posted content about an exorcism on social media. Her trial was supposed to start in October, but it's now scheduled for January. She's expected in court for a pretrial conference at 9 o'clock this morning.
A judge's order means convicted felon Brooks Houck can't sell most of his properties while a civil suit from Crystal Rogers' family is still ongoing. Houck was convicted in Rogers' murder in July and is now serving a life sentence. The judge's order bans Houck from selling or transferring any property held by his businesses, including Houck Rentals, Select Qualities Homes, and Central Kentucky Real Estate Rentals. Houck is allowed to sell lots in the Cooperfield subdivision in Nelson County. Rogers' family is suing Houck as part of a wrongful death lawsuit. And we have this update now to a case we've been following all week.
A Hardin County family says they're reliving their worst nightmare after a man who killed their son is facing new murder charges. Police say Joshua Cottrell killed a mother and her teenage daughter in Rowan County last week. The family of Richie Phillips says their deaths could have been avoided. Cottrell killed Phillips after they met at an Elizabethtown motel in 2003. Phillips' body was later found in a suitcase dumped in Breckenridge County. Cottrell was found guilty of manslaughter, claiming it was in self-defense. Phillips' mother, though, says she remembers sitting in court at Cottrell's 2005 trial when she says he made a chilling statement.
The judge asked, would he do it over? Would he kill him again? And he said, yeah.
Cottrell was sentenced to 20 years in prison for Phillips' death. Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet says he was released in 2019. Right now, Cottrell is being held on $1 million bond at the McCracken County Jail for that Rowan County double murder.
Police say one man is hurt after a shooting in Louisville. It happened just before 10:30 last night. They found the man shot in the arm on Poplar Level Road near Rangeland Road. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive, but they think the shooting may have happened somewhere else. They're asking anyone with information to call 574-LMPD. Fashion Week turns to fashion faux pas for people hoping they'd get a chance to check out some of the latest styles in Louisville.
A newly made website claims Louisville was the backdrop to an A-list Fashion Week, but investigators say it was all a scam. Wave News reporter Rob Wells is here with the details. Rob?
Yeah, and Olivia, who needs New York, Milan, or Paris when you could check out what fashionistas are raving about and do it right here at home? Sounds too good to be true. It actually is. The site promising a 4-day event in November featuring high-profile designers with ticket prices ranging from about $500 to nearly $1,000. Then spokespersons from the Melwood Art Center say they started receiving phone calls about something called a Louisville Fashion Week event that the staff says they never even heard of. They discovered that the Art Center was listed as the host despite not having anything on their own books. The website also advertises discounted rates at the Brown Hotel and 21C Hotel, even with a promotional code.
It's pretty apparent nowadays, you know, the internet's a dangerous place. Now I'm starting to think this might be a scam. So I checked out the website, and sure enough, I was like, wow, this is not looking good.
The Better Business Bureau confirming with both hotels that the claim for the Fashion Week deal, it is not true. At this time, it's still not clear exactly who created the website or how many may have actually fallen for that scam. The BBB strongly urging consumers not to buy tickets from a site as it may be intended to rob victims of their money and even their personal information. Olivia, over to you.
Thank you, Rob. Louisville Metro emergency responders say a new tool will help save lives during emergency calls. Video to 911 lets 911 callers activate live video streams. It works similar to FaceTime calls. With the video tool, you could show dispatchers your location as they feed the live stream to first responders in real time. The city says it could help save time in crucial life or death situations.
If they had a car accident, they're hurting, they're freaking out, you try to get them to calm down, you're trying to talk to somebody at their worst moment. And for someone that's never had an incident, a young person that's having their first car accident, they're hurt, and it may take them 5 or 6 minutes to calm down. It may take them another 2 to 3 minutes to tell me everything that's happening. Now I have to figure out where they are.
Call takers have been testing the new technology for about 45 days. It'll be rolled out to first responders in the next few weeks. Coming up here on Sunrise Extra, jockey Brian Hernandez Jr. already planning his comeback days after a fall that led to 7 broken ribs and internal bleeding.
We speak to him exclusively about his injuries and recovery journey at U of L Hospital.
Oaks and Derby winning jockey Brian Hernandez Jr. continues to recover after taking a scary fall during a race at Churchill Downs over the weekend.
Hernandez was rushed to U of L Hospital Sunday. He had 7 broken ribs, a collapsed lung, and internal bleeding. He was on the horse Sergeant Garcia in the 3rd race when the horse took a bad step, and then Brian fell off. Unfortunately, Sergeant Garcia was euthanized. I sat down with Brian and his wife Jamie in the hospital room as he is hopeful he'll be back riding soon. Brian Hernandez Jr. hasn't seen a replay of the 12-horse race. He remembers what happened.
We were going around the 4th turn there at Churchill, and the horse took a funny step, and I came off the side of him, and I landed on my back. And once I landed on my back, we wear safety vests, of course, but once I landed on my back, I'm guessing it was his back leg came, and it stomped down right on my chest here, and it crushed all the ribs. It crushed 7 ribs, and then the liver, cut up the liver, and then collapsed the lung partially. I was fortunate enough not to get run over by anyone else.
He says he knew right away something was broken. His wife, Jamie, was watching the race from home.
It happened, and I texted his agent, was that Brian? And he said, yes. And I said, oh my. And that was it.
Jamie and the kids got in the car as an ambulance rushed Brian to U of L Hospital, where he underwent surgery to stop the liver bleeding. In all his years as a jockey, this is the first time the 39-year-old had to be admitted.
I think the hardest part is like leaving the hospital without him. I'm like, to go home by myself tonight.
He had another surgery Tuesday in which plates and screws stabilized his ribs.
I bet this is like from the horse.
That's where he stepped on us, and they broke all these ribs. She came here early today.
Now he's already walking the halls of the hospital with visitors. He says in the ambulance, so many thoughts went through his mind.
My first thought in my mind was, oh God, I don't ever want to ride a horse again. But then 2 minutes later, you're thinking, oh, I got to get back to riding because we have so many good horses that are coming up in the next few weeks.
Well, I'm supportive in whatever he wants to do, but I would be okay if he retired tomorrow. I mean, there's both ends of the spectrum. Like, I don't ever want to see him in pain like this, but it's really his choice and what he wants to do with his career.
I really want to get back for Breeders' Cup, which is in 5.5 weeks. And that's my game plan right now, is just work as hard as I can and be back for Breeders' Cup week. You know, we want to get back and win the Derby again. We want to win Oakses again.
Brian says the fall has him putting things into perspective.
Especially in our lifestyle where we're working all the time, and you never really take time for yourself. And when something like this happens, now I'm going to have a few weeks where I can sit back and enjoy the family and go to Ben's soccer games on Saturday. So, you know, look at it the best you can.
Yeah, that's something he really rarely ever gets to do, is spend that time with his family. Now, if he recovers in time for the Breeders' Cup, Brian would be on Torpedo Anna, who he won the Oaks on in 2024. And Jamie and Brian are celebrating their 13th wedding anniversary today. They'll have a lot to celebrate because doctors are telling Brian he could go home today. So hopefully that will happen.
Congratulations on the anniversary.
I know.
13 years. That's impressive. And I mean, he's got a great spirit right now, too.
Yeah. They were going to go out to a fancy dinner, but that'll come later.
Yeah, that will come later. But I'm glad that he still gets to spend that time with his family. That's super important, and wishing him the best in his recovery for sure. For anybody heading out today, and including for him as he's hopefully going home today, we are going to continue to keep an eye on some more of those showers across the region. So right now, what the radar is showing, these scattered showers building in southern Indiana and along the Ohio River in Kentucky. For those of you closer to LaGrange, Pleasureville, you're getting in some of these spotty showers. A few more showing up near Madison, Seymour, with some of the heavier rainfall in the Borden area stretching off towards the southwest, towards English and Leavenworth. This is gradually, and I mean gradually, pushing off towards the east, but thankfully it is moving, so that's going to help to mitigate any major flooding concerns there. A few spotty showers showing up in Grayson County, portions of southern Hardin County, down into Hart County as well, with a little bit of drizzle still in parts of Greene and Taylor counties. We're starting to see some more breaks in those clouds on many of our Kentucky Mesonet cameras. So yes, many of you already starting off the day with some of that sunshine getting through the clouds. Your temperatures are in the 60s right now. We'll watch for a few more of those showers as we get into the afternoon, with highs today jumping into the 70s. Now, keep in mind how far into the 70s you go will be fully dictated by if you see any more rainfall today and how thick the clouds are in your area. But we will watch for additional rounds of these spotty showers throughout the morning. A little bit drier towards lunch, but still keeping the isolated rain chance then too. Getting into the afternoon, more of those scattered showers and even a couple of thunderstorms expected for this afternoon, especially for those of you across Kentucky. All of this rainfall will quickly move off towards the south and east throughout the afternoon, leaving behind clearing skies and cool temperatures for tomorrow morning. So as of right now, we're looking at some pretty decent weather coming our way for the weekend. You can see anywhere from an additional 1/10 of an inch to even 1/2 inch of rain in some spots, with those showers and thunderstorms that we'll see later on today. And then for tomorrow morning, waking up the temperatures in the 50s. So another cool, pleasant fall-like morning on the way. We have to watch for some areas of fog, though, showing up for tomorrow, mainly because of the clearing skies, plus that moisture left over from today's rainfall working together to create some of that fog for your Friday morning commute. By the afternoon, though, the sunshine will help to push your temperatures into the 70s for highs. The weekend looking pretty good, with highs in the upper 70s and low 80s. Then we'll keep an eye on an area of low pressure off towards our east. once again to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, because that could throw some mid to upper level clouds our way and also a few isolated showers, and all of those things could affect temperatures. But as of right now, we're talking upper 70s and low 80s to start off next week. Then as we get into the tropics for the end of next week, that could influence how much we warm up. There's still a lot of debate about the interaction of multiple systems. We have Gabrielle and Umberto that could interact as we get towards the following weekend. We could also see, of course, as those systems push to the north, them influencing our temperatures here at home. So don't be surprised if you see some changes showing up towards the end of the 10-day, because there's just a lot of factors going on outside of our region that will dictate what we see here at home.
Thank you. Okay, Halloween's coming up really soon, and have you gotten your costume together?
We'll tell you which outfits are expected to be the most popular this year coming up.
Louisville's largest back-to-back weekends now behind us, but boy, it made a huge impact. Louder Than Life and Bourbon and Beyond brought in a combined record-breaking crowd of more than 450,000 fans over 8 days. More than 300 artists performed across both festivals. More than 100,000 people also checked out Kentucky Kingdom during the festivals. That was a new feature this year. And Louisville Tourism says both festivals generated nearly $43 million in local economic impact. Danny Wimmer Presents has already set the dates for next year's festival. Louder Than Life will happen first next year, September 17th through the 20th, with headliner My Chemical Romance, and Bourbon and Beyond will follow then September 24th through the 27th. Don't know who's going to be the big headliner there, but can't wait. Racing Louisville hosting a home game this weekend, and guess what? You can bring your dog too. Pups at the Pitch is going to be happening this Saturday. It's making a return. Fans are encouraged to bring their dogs to the games. They'll be handing out bandanas and special treats. The Kentucky Humane Society will also have adoptable puppies at the game too. Racing is set to face Angel City FC at 7:30. And Halloween is right around the corner.
And the Kentucky Retail Federation sharing this year's top costumes. For the kids, Spider-Man takes the top spot. He's usually pretty popular. That's followed by princesses, witches, ghosts, and superheroes. For adults, witches leads the list. Rounding out the top 5 would be vampires, pirates, cats, and Batman and Superman. For the pets, popular picks include pumpkins, hot dogs, and bumblebees. Altogether, costume spending for Halloween is expected to hit $4.3 billion this year. That's why I go with the same costume every year.
The giraffe.
Giraffe onesie. Can't fail with it.
We'll be right back.
This Wave News update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Today, the Metro Council will vote on a resolution that would urge Governor Beshear to speed up reopening the Juvenile Justice Center. It closed in 2019 due to a council vote and funding cuts. The Public Safety Committee advanced the resolution to the full Metro Council in a meeting last Wednesday. Right now, kids who commit crimes are either incarcerated in another county or they're released on home incarceration when they shouldn't be. Tonight's Metro Council meeting will start at 6 o'clock. Let's go to
You're watching Wave Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell. We have a lot to get to this morning. We have some big football games coming up this weekend. That's both on the high school level and on the college level. Plus, good news for TikTok users. It looks like there's a deal that's going through that will keep TikTok working on your cell phones. I still remember back in January when it suddenly shut down. We definitely don't want that. But first, we want to start with a startling case in the St. Matthews area. We've learned a teenage girl was groped while she was waiting to be picked up from school. Wave News reporter Julia Richardson talked to police and neighbors about that startling nature of the case.
I think this young lady did everything the way she should have. LMPD spokesperson John Bradley says a man touched a teen girl inappropriately, and moments after the incident, she took out her phone and recorded him as he ran away.
She made a lot of noise. She drew a lot of attention to herself and the perpetrator, which, of course, in this case, scared the perpetrator away.
The incident happened around 3 p.m. last Thursday near McCready and Richard Avenue. That neighborhood is close to schools, including Sacred Heart and Holy Spirit.
This historically has been a neighborhood where children do leave school and they make themselves, they get themselves home on foot. This is a kind of a neighborhood environment here. Everybody's kind of looking out for each other.
Erin Clare is a member of the Crescent Hill Community Council and supports that claim. She tells me a resident on her street keeps a list of everyone's name and phone number.
Anytime there is some sort of incident, for example, my garage was broken into over the summer, then we email out everybody and tell people to be aware.
Claire says the council plans to do the same with this incident. She tells me, although the neighborhood is fairly safe, as a mother, hearing about the incident was unsettling.
It gives me pause because I send my kids out to walk the dog alone. So, I'll definitely be having a conversation with them to just be a little more stranger aware.
Bradley says often incidents like this are not reported, and LMPD wants to encourage victims to come forward, even if they don't have any evidence.
We believe you, and we'll find evidence. I mean, that's no problem. If you feel like, okay, I don't have anything to show anyone, that's okay. That's not a requirement. What we want to know is the information, and we will take it from there.
So if you recognize the man in that video, you're asked to call the anonymous tip line. You can talk to officers and leave a tip. That number is 574-LMPD. The defense hopes the jury will listen to the mother of a man accused of killing a Louisville construction worker and shooting an off-duty LMPD officer. Keyshawn Stewart is charged with the murder of Fred O'Bannon and attempted murder of LMPD Sergeant Chris Lane. The shooting happened on the Watterson Expressway in November of 2021. Yesterday, the jury heard from Stewart's mother and one of O'Bannon's co-workers who was there that night. He said he was near O'Bannon when he was shot and killed.
Individual walked to my truck. And he looked over at Fred, so I assumed, he knew Fred. He walked around to the back, driver's side window, and I'm watching. I heard a pop, and I seen the glass shatter.
The prosecution did not state whether Stewart and O'Bannon knew each other or why Stewart would shoot the construction worker. The defense then called Stewart's mother to the stand. She detailed a long and troubling history of mental health issues in the family.
It's a nightmare. That's the only way I can describe it.
She says her son has been diagnosed with hyperactivity, PTSD, and schizophrenia. She said he hadn't slept for multiple days before that shooting. The trial will continue today. Investigators are trying to figure out what sparked two vacant house fires early Wednesday morning. The first fire started just before 1:30 a.m. on Rowan Street in the Portland neighborhood. When crews got there, they found fire coming from both the first and second floors of the vacant building. Firefighters struggled to get inside because of the boarded up entrances and everything that was inside. The fire was put out in just under an hour. The Red Cross was contacted to help 3 adults who were found after that fire was put out. And just about 3.5 hours after that, there was another fire, this time at another vacant 2-story building, this one on Dixie Highway near the California neighborhood. Flames were mostly coming from the second floor of that home. Boarded entrances led to trouble in this situation as well. No injuries or deaths were reported in either incident. The Arson Bureau is investigating both fires. A fight over the future of THC-infused drinks and food products has Senator Mitch McConnell at odds with Kentucky hemp farmers. 58 farmers signed a letter to McConnell on Monday, warning the senator not to criminalize their harvest. Wave News reporter David Mattingly takes a look at what's at stake.
It was promoted as a cash crop replacement for tobacco. Hemp with a THC content of 0.03% by weight became legal in the 2018 Farm Bill. Championed by Mitch McConnell, Kentucky's senior senator is now trying to roll it back.
McConnell did a 180 on his own legislation and is seeking to make all THC from hemp illegal, which would eliminate all of our products from legitimate commerce.
Jim Higdon co-founded Cornbread Hemp, selling THC gummies and seltzer in compliance with the 0.3 limit. But McConnell, signing threats to children, now accuses companies like Cornbread Hemp of trying to make a quick buck, exploiting a loophole, and taking legal amounts of THC from hemp and turning it into intoxicating substances.
We are not operating in any loophole. We are operating under the plain language of the law. And Senator McConnell's solution does not close a loophole. It rewrites the plain language of the law.
Higdon's company employs 100 people, 100 jobs now at risk at a time of growing popularity for the product. Cornbread Hemp signed high-profile sponsorships with the Kentucky State Fair and U of L Athletics. Business is so good, Higdon says, 60 acres of hemp they are growing on a farm in Marion County could more than double in size. A letter signed by 58 Kentucky hemp farmers and delivered to McConnell on Monday emphasized in bold letters, do not criminalize our harvest, protect our farms. Kentucky Hemp Association President Dee Dee Taylor warns of the potential for industry collapse.
There are a lot of hemp farmers in Kentucky. They need to be allowed to keep growing their plant and then being able to sell it.
A spokesperson for McConnell tells us he's speaking with the interested parties. Senator Rand Paul says he supports the hemp farmers on this issue. Kentucky families trying to navigate a childhood cancer diagnosis are getting help from the University of Kentucky. In honor of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, the Kentucky Pediatric Cancer Research Fund donated $500,000 to the UK Markey Cancer Foundation for the Care Advancing Treatment Succession, or CATS. The assistance funds help cover costs so parents can focus on their children and their cancer journeys. That includes housing and utility assistance, transportation, medical equipment, and more. In 2024, the Kentucky legislature designated $10 million in state funding for childhood cancer research, along with $4 million to support children fighting cancer and their parents.
Kentucky is putting these brave kids first. We know this funding provides far more than lab work and clinical trials. It provides hope. It strengthens support services to help parents and families cope. And it helps survivors not only beat cancer, but also navigate those challenges that come after.
The Commonwealth became one of the first states in the U.S. to designate funding to childhood cancer research back in 2015. A local coffee shop is already embracing Halloween with a giving spirit, starting a costume drive for kids in need. Witch's Brew Coffee on Frankfort Avenue is hosting an angel tree, but it has a fake pumpkin patch where customers can adopt kids whose families can't afford a costume. Parents will write their children's initials, clothing size, and which costume they want, and that information is put on a pumpkin and added to the patch. Someone will then adopt the pumpkin, bring the tag and the costume back to the store.
I love being different on Halloween, being like a different character. I love dressing up. I love just the spookiness, being able to go out and trick or treat. I love that as a kid. I don't know where it came from. It just popped in my head and I was like, oh, I got to do this.
So if you want to contribute to the costume drive, the deadline to get them to the coffee shop is October 16th. And you can learn more over on our website, wave3.com. Such a great thing to do there. And I have to say, I was driving by the other day. They had a line out the door, so plenty of people coming in there. Hopefully, they're bringing costumes with them as well. We're going to take a quick break, get back to some national headlines in just 2 minutes. Stick with us. The White House Budget Office is threatening mass firings if a government shutdown happens. The directive outlined in an Office of Management and Budget memo to agencies includes instructions to target programs they are not legally required to continue. In the memo, the Budget Office directs agencies to identify programs whose funds will lapse if Congress fails to meet the September 30th funding deadline. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries are expected to meet with President Trump today to discuss ways to avoid a shutdown. Happening today, President Trump is expected to sign a deal to facilitate the sale of TikTok from its Chinese-based company to American investors.
NerdWallet
the sale would
more than a third of Americans
looks like it's not the right video up yet, but one second. Well, that sale would keep the social media app available in the U.S. and it would be in accordance with federal law that required U.S. ownership of the app. U.S. lawmakers were concerned TikTok's current owners were providing U.S. data to the Chinese government. Under the new deal, TikTok's U.S. operations would be run by a new joint venture company. TikTok's current China-based owner will hold less than 20% of stock in the new company. Now let's get to that story. Well, first we'll start with Jimmy Kimmel. He was actually earned his highest ratings in over a decade with his first show following that suspension. Kimmel's show drew more than 6 million viewers on Tuesday night. Disney, which owns ABC, highlighted that the latest episode did not air in 23% of American households. That's because two major owners of local news stations, Nexstar and Sinclair, refused to air the Kimmel show because of the comments he made about conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination. Kimmel said the alleged shooter was supportive of President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda. In his opening monologue, Kimmel said he wasn't trying to blame any specific group for the shooting. A reduction in federal staffing has affected, well, never mind, Disney raising the prices on the majority of its streaming services here in the U.S., and that includes most Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN plans. Most are increasing by $1 to $3. This is the third time in 3 years Disney has raised streaming service prices in the U.S. The new prices are effective on October 21st. Well, a reduction in federal staffing has affected agencies that handle consumer complaints, including those filed by student loan borrowers. And this Watching Your Wallet consumer investigator Carice Jackman looks at what happened when a worker tasked with helping borrowers was taken off the job and what it means for those still waiting for answers.
NerdWallet found more than a third of Americans set the goal this year to pay off debt or pay it down in 2025. That's a wonderful goal because debt is so stressful and it can be expensive if you have high interest credit card debt. Sarah Rathner, a credit card expert with NerdWallet, says it's probably been several months since you started working toward this goal, so now is the time to check in again.
So take a moment to check in and see where you stand today, because it's going to look different today than it did at the start of this year. Pull up your recent statements for your credit cards and any other loans you have, like a personal loan, car loan, mortgage, and see the total amount you still owe and what your interest rate is, especially with credit cards, because that can fluctuate over time.
Rathner says that way you can see a little snapshot of how much progress you might have made and how much more you still have to go.
You definitely want to celebrate any progress you made toward paying off debt, perhaps not by making a large purchase, but, hang out with a friend who's cheering you on, get a nice cup of coffee, go for a walk, go for a hike, some way to mark the occasion, especially if you've hit certain milestones, because it really is hard to pay off debt.
If you have not made as much progress as you thought you would have made by now, that's okay too. Rathner says, be forgiving of yourself, because a lot of people tell NerdWallet they get off track because of unexpected expenses. It's okay. She says, reset and start again. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
The federal government is required to send you notice before taking any action, including wage garnishment, seizing your tax refund, or withholding Social Security benefits. So make sure you review and save any of the documents you receive. Well, U of L is celebrating a historic milestone after its fall enrollment surpassed 25,000 students for the first time. More than 38% of freshmen are first-generation college students. That's a nearly 8% increase from 2024. This year's student body also includes representation from every Kentucky county. 27% are from other states. The top 5 majors from freshmen are engineering, nursing, biology, education, and business. U of L said it had a record high fall-to-fall retention rate of 84%. We're going to take a quick break. Hopefully we can get some videos in order here too, so they're not backwards like they were just a second ago. But we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes. Well, here's something I always remember going to. It's our no-brainer touchdown Friday night game of the week. St. X versus Trinity. This one's going to be played at L&N Stadium. Always a big rivalry there between the two all-boys schools. Wave Sports reporter Dusty Baker takes us to practice with the Rocks.
Well, the Cards will be busy this weekend on the road taking on the Pitt Panthers. Right here at L&N Stadium, it will be rocking on Friday nights when it welcomes the rivalry renewed, the battle of St. X and Trinity.
The intensity is from the fan base. This is such a huge game to the fan base.
A lot has gone right for the Trinity Shamrocks over the last couple of years, but one thing is still on their minds: revenge from last year's rivalry game against St. X.
It's a big rivalry. It's how they beat us last year. So it's like more tense.
The Rocks, of course, wound up winning their second consecutive state title last season, but they still have a chip on their shoulders after a 16-10 loss to St. X on the Tigers' home turf.
I got injured last season, and I want to redeem myself. So I was going to stay disciplined, and I think we're a better team all over, passing and running the ball in defense.
This time, all eyes will return back to L&N Stadium as these two go head-to-head once again.
This Friday night, we got an opportunity to get better against a really good football team. Next week, against the Cincy St. X team, another opportunity to get better. And so we need to take advantage of those opportunities, fix it, go into the playoffs, and make a run.
The Rocks and the Tigers will kick off right here at L&N Stadium on Friday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Reporting in Louisville, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports.
Oh, that was always so much fun to go to, especially for someone who went to Sacred Heart. It was always a question, which boys' school do you want to cheer for? I stuck to Trinity because my brother was a Trinity guy and I didn't want him to yell at me, understandably so. Switching gears now to the college side of things, U of L football, as we expected, off to a 3-0 start, but the way they got there, not as exactly as they predicted. The expectation was for the offense to carry the team, while the defense was still replacing key players from last season. But head coach Jeff Brom says so far the offense has been good, but quarterback Miller Moss has taken just too many sacks. On the other half of the ball, though, Brom says defense has been lights out, especially against the run game. He says the unit will be challenged in the team's first ACC game this weekend.
Well, I think our secondary's played well, and we've done a good job, and that's been good to see. Now, we have not faced passing teams, not 1 week. So, how good we're going to be is still to be determined.
The Cards play Pitt on Saturday. Kickoff for that game is at noon. Now to UK football. They're leaving the friendly confines of Kroger Field for the first time this season when they travel to South Carolina on Saturday. Cutter Boley will get the start at quarterback, and in a short time, he's already shown that he can be a dependable guy in the locker room.
He is definitely a leader. I think I think it's always, a learning process, with a young quarterback and as you bring him along. But Cutter is very likable. The kids believe in him.
The Kentucky game kicks off at 7:30 on Saturday. Now to the only ranked team in our area, number 11 Indiana, also on the road for the first time this season when they head to Iowa. Head coach Curt Cignetti says getting off to a good start is the key to silencing the crowd.
It's a reflection of preparation, I think. And so hopefully get off to a good start and then play well throughout and finish good. That's always the goal.
Indiana kicks off against Iowa at 3:30 on Saturday. So much exciting stuff to look forward to this weekend, whether it's high school football or college football that you can sit around and watch on TV all day. Good news. Looks like we're going to have great fall-like weather to sit around and enjoy it. That's all the time we have here for Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, and then it's the weekend right after that. So there you go. That's something to brighten your Thursday up. Hope you have a great one.